Evaluating coaches is not about control, it's about responsibility. Every training session shapes athletes, technically, emotionally, and behaviorally. Good intentions are not enough. A coach may care deeply and still teach poorly. Without clear standards, every practice becomes a personal interpretation of what good looks like. Evaluation protects athletes. It defines quality. It creates a shared language for teaching. And most importantly, evaluation is not a verdict. It's a mirror. Coaches don't improve because they are criticized. They improve because they are seen, guided, and supported. A program that evaluates coaches is not looking for mistakes. It is building a culture where growth is expected. An athlete's journey is not defined by age or level. It is defined by how well the environment supports growth over time. And in every phase of that journey, the coach is the most influential variable. Early on, the coach is a builder of movement and motivation. The goal is not performance, but engagement. Athletes must learn to enjoy moving, experimenting, failing, and trying again. This is where habits are born. Curiosity, confidence, and the willingness to learn. As athletes progress, the coach becomes a designer of development. Training is no longer random. Load, progression, feedback, and challenge must be intentional. The coach teaches athletes how to practice, how to focus, and how to connect effort with improvement. Later, the coach evolves into a performance guide. Athletes already have tools. Now they must learn how to apply them under pressure. Decision-making, emotional control, resilience, and responsibility become as important as technique. Across all stages, the coach is not just teaching skills. They are shaping how athletes relate to learning, failure, effort, pressure, themselves. The quality of coaching does not only determine how well athletes perform today, it determines how long they stay in the sport and what kind of people they become through it. That is why evaluating coaches is not about control. It is about protecting development. Quality in training is not defined by how hard a practice looks, how tired athletes are at the end, or how complex the drills appear. Quality is measured by what athletes are actually learning, and how consistently that learning transfers to the game. A high-quality training session is one where athletes understand why they are doing each activity. Repetitions are purposeful, not random. The environment challenges perception, decision-making, and execution. Errors are treated as information, not failure. Feedback guides attention toward the game, not just toward body parts. Every athlete is engaged, moving, thinking, and adapting. Quality is not about perfection. It is about creating conditions where improvement is inevitable. Two practices can use the same drills and produce completely different outcomes. The difference is not the drill. It is the design of the experience, how the task is framed, what the athlete is asked to solve, where attention is directed, how success is defined, how mistakes are interpreted. A quality session leaves athletes better equipped to play, not just a repeat. It builds understanding, confidence, and adaptability, the traits that survive under pressure. Good training makes athletes tired. Quality training makes them better. Most coaching mistakes are not about what is taught. They are about how learning is structured. The most frequent errors we see in training environments are talking too much and practicing too little. Athletes learn by doing, not by listening, stopping the drill for every small detail. This breaks rhythm, reduces repetitions, and shifts focus away from a game, confusing activity with learning. A busy gym does not guarantee meaningful development. Coaching the body instead of the problem. Athletes are told how to move, but not what to read or solve. Using drills that look good but don't transfer to the game. If perception and decision-making are missing, the drill is incomplete. Correcting outcomes instead of understanding causes. Many technical errors are actually perceptual or decisional, creating dependence on the coach. When every solution comes from the sideline, athletes stop thinking for themselves. These mistakes rarely come from bad intentions. They come from tradition, pressure, and illusion that control equals quality. Great coaching is not about constant correction. It is about designing environments where athletes learn to see, decide, and adapt on their own. The goal is not perfect execution in practice. The goal is resilient performance in the game. When observing a practice, we are not judging personal style. We are looking for real evidence of learning. The central question is simple. Is this environment helping athletes become better players under real game conditions? A quality training session reveals itself through clear patterns. Are athletes active most of the time or mostly waiting? Are they focused and genuinely engaged? Do the activities demand perception and decision-making or only mechanical repetition? Is the objective of each drill understood by the athletes? Are players solving problems or just following commands? Is their progression from simple to complex, from isolated to game-like? Are errors treated as information or as interruptions? Are coaches well-positioned to observe, guide, and intervene? Does the rhythm of a session reflect the real game in speed and repetition? Is the coach shaping the environment or trying to control every outcome? Observation should focus less on what the coach says and more on what the athletes do. Learning lives in behavior, not in explanations. Structure, coherence, and phase of preparation. A quality practice follows the logic of a good lesson. It has a clear beginning, a well-defined main part, and an ending that consolidates what was learned. Activities are not chosen at random. They usually follow the real sequence of the game. What we call complexes are simply the organization of these actions in chains: serve, pass, set, attack, defense, transition, making practice progressively more game-like. When observing a session, it is essential to verify whether what is being done aligns with the phase of preparation. General phase, specific phase, competitive phase. A common mistake is demanding competitive behaviors during phases that are still about construction, or, on the other hand, keeping generic drills when athletes already need sport-specific, game-driven stimuli. Evaluating a practice means understanding whether there is coherence between structure, progression, developmental stage, and competitive reality. A good practice is not just organized. It makes sense within a process and prepares athletes for the chaos of the game. A well-organized practice is not about perfection. It is about intention. When a session is organized, athletes spend more time playing and less time waiting. Transitions are smooth, equipment is ready, groups are balanced, and everyone knows where to go and what to do. Good organization reflects clear thinking. It shows that the coach planned the session with purpose, understanding what must be trained, why it matters, and how each activity connects to the next. When evaluating organization, look for, does the practice follow a logical structure? Warm-up, main phase, closing phase? Do the drills progress in a game-like sequence, mirroring how the skill appears in real play? Are complexes used to connect actions and make situations more realistic? Is the workload appropriate for the phase of preparation, general, specific, or competitive? Are time, space, equipment, and groups used efficiently? Organization is not just logistics. It is the visible expression of a coach's thinking and one of the clearest indicators of training quality. What athletes must understand before they move. The goal of an explanation is to ensure every athlete understands what to do, why it matters, and what success looks like. Great explanations are clear and concise, focused on purpose, not just mechanics, built around what the athlete must perceive and decide, delivered in simple, game-relevant language. When evaluating a coach's explanation, observe. Is the objective of the drill clear? Do athletes understand what problem they are solving? Are expectations concrete? What does success look like? Is the message short enough to preserve energy and rhythm? Does the coach highlight one or two key cues instead of overloading athletes? Is the explanation appropriate for the athlete's age, experience, and stage of development? An effective explanation doesn't just tell athletes how to move. It helps them understand what they're trying to achieve and what to notice while playing. Demonstration models and teaching methodology. The best explanations are often visual. Demonstration creates stronger mental images and higher retention than words alone. When demonstrating, Execution must be accurate and representative. Choosing the best athlete to demonstrate and providing a clear movement model is essential. Demonstration should be presented globally first, not in isolated parts. Athletes need to see the whole action before breaking it down. This helps them understand purpose, flow, and outcome. They should also be shown at normal speed, not only in slow motion. Rhythm and timing are part of the skill. If athletes never see the real tempo, they cannot learn it. Coaches cannot always demonstrate skills correctly, and using an inaccurate model creates noise, confusion, and faulty learning. This is a common and serious teaching mistake. Verbal instruction should rely on key words that mark what truly matters. These cues act as mental anchors during execution. Teaching methodology makes the difference. Asking athletes to demonstrate the movement, explain it in their own words, mentally visualize the task, speak the key actions to themselves are powerful ways to consolidate learning. Tools such as a whiteboard, simple drawings, or sharing a written practice plan also improve understanding, especially for assistant coaches and athletes who need clarity on structure and purpose. However, no tool replaces what truly matters: the quality of implementation and the ability to adjust the drill in real time. Great teaching isn't about saying more. It's about helping athletes see, understand, and act with autonomy. Where learning truly happens, practice is where ideas become habits. A good drill does more than keep athletes busy. It creates meaningful repetitions that build skill, understanding, and decision-making. That practice is the bridge between theory and what actually appears in the game. When evaluating a coach's practice, observe whether athletes are active most of the time, not standing in long lines. The drill produces a high number of quality contacts. The task reflects real game situations and demands athletes must perceive, decide, and act, not just repeat movements. The level of difficulty matches the athlete's age, experience, and stage of development. The drill allows success while still creating challenge. The work-to-rest rhythm fits the objective of the session. The practice respects sound learning principles. Simple, complex, blocked, random, constant variable, among others. Effective practice follows a logical structure. Sessions should have a clear beginning, a focused main phase, and a purposeful closing. Drills typically follow the natural sequence of the game. What we call complexes are simply ways to connect actions in order, making training more realistic and transferable. Also observe whether the practice content aligns with the phase of preparation and the learning principles the coach claims to use. A great coach designs practice so that every repetition has intention. In evaluation, the question is not how much athletes train, but what they are truly learning with each contact. Protecting athletes while they learn. Safety is not separate from performance. It is a foundation that allows learning to happen. An unsafe environment limits confidence, restricts effort, and increases the risk of injury. When evaluating a training session, safety must be observed at all times. A safe practice environment includes clear organization of space, avoiding collisions and overcrowding appropriate equipment, well-placed and in good condition, drills designed with realistic movement paths and safe distances, progressions that respect physical readiness and technical level, adequate warm-up before high-intensity actions, logical workload, volume, intensity, and recovery and balance, immediate response to dangerous behavior or risky situations. A safe session does not remove challenge. It controls it. Attention, focus, and risk management. Observe whether the coach anticipates risks instead of reacting only after problems occur, adjusts drills when fatigue causes technical breakdown, stops unsafe actions immediately, and explains why, creates a culture in which athletes feel protected, not pressured, actively manages the group's level of attention and focus throughout the session. Many injuries do not occur because of the drill itself, but due to negligence, lack of skill, or imprudence, most often associated with loss of focus. They typically happen during transitions, waiting periods, or moments of inattention. Great coaches build environments where athletes can train hard, fail, and improve, without being exposed to unnecessary risk. Managing attention is an essential part of managing safety. The coach as a model, not just an instructor. Professional behavior is not an accessory to coaching. It is coaching. Athletes learn as much from what a coach is as from what a coach teaches. Tone, posture, language presence, and emotional control shape the climate of every session. When evaluating professional behavior, observe whether the coach treats every athlete with respect, consistency, and dignity, uses language that is constructive, not sarcastic, humiliating, or reactive, demonstrates emotional control under pressure, models the behaviors expected from athletes, is present and engaged, not distracted or disengaged, maintains appropriate boundaries and professionalism at all times. A coach's behavior defines what is acceptable. If the coach tolerates disrespect, lack of effort, excuses, negligence, the environment will mirror it. Professional behavior is not about authority. It is about credibility. Athletes follow what they trust. They trust what is coherent. A great coach does not demand standards. They embody them. And that is what transforms instruction into leadership. Personality shapes the learning environment. Every coach brings a personal style into the gym. That style shapes the emotional climate, the level of engagement, and the quality of learning. Styles are not good or bad by nature, but every one of them creates consequences. The rigid coach controls everything, corrects constantly. Downside, suppresses creativity, increases fear of error, limits autonomy. The buddy coach wants to be liked, avoids confrontation. Downside, lowers standards, blurs boundaries, weakens discipline and growth. The absent coach lets practice run itself. Downside, athletes drift, mistakes become habits, learning becomes random. The spectator coach watches but rarely intervenes. Downside, misses teachable moments, athletes stagnate. The coach who never touches the ball explains a lot, demonstrates little. Downside, learning becomes abstract. Athletes lack clear movement models. The centralizing coach, everything goes through him or her. Downside, players become dependent and passive. Patterns that limit development. Some profiles actively block growth, even when intentions are good. The private lessons coach only focuses on their athletes, disengaged from the team. Downside, fragments the group, weakens culture, undermines a program. The stubborn coach knows the method is outdated but refuses to change. Downside, creates conflict, resists evolution, harms the organization. The talker talks constantly with little substance. Downside, athletes stop listening. Words lose value. The contrarian coach always disagrees, believes only their view is correct. Downside, isolates himself, adds no value, damages collaboration. The outdated coach does not study, does not evolve. Downside, creates a knowledge gap that is unacceptable and directly harms athlete development. The true developer, reference point, guide, challenges, builds autonomy. Impact, creates growth, clarity, and long-term learning. Key message, every style teaches something, even when the coach does not realize it. Evaluating a coach means understanding what their presence produces in the environment. Tools that create thinking players. Cognitive effort does not happen by accident. It is created by methodology. Effective coaches design tasks that require athletes to perceive before acting, choose between options, adjust to changing information, solve problems, not just repeat patterns. From drills to learning environments. Common tools that increase decision-making. Constraints, rules, or conditions that guide choices variability. changing targets, tempo, space, or roles, reading before action, ball, opponent, block, space tasks with multiple solutions, more than one right answer, unpredictable stimuli, random feeds, live opponents, changing cues, rules that force choice, scoring systems, limitations, bonuses. These elements transform drills into learning environments. They teach athletes to connect. What I see, what I decide, what I do. What to look for. When evaluating a training session, ask, do athletes need to think or only repeat? Are decisions required or is everything predetermined? Does a drill allow more than one solution? Do athletes need to read something before acting? Are mistakes part of the learning process? Is adaptation required or is the environment static? Then reflect. Are athletes being trained to execute or to perceive, decide, and adapt? Great coaches do not only build better skills, they build better thinkers of the game. This is the difference between training movements and developing players. Turning observation into growth. Feedback is not about pointing out mistakes. It is about helping a coach see what is happening and understand how to improve. Effective feedback is respectful and professional, based on observable behavior, not opinion, focus on impact, not personality, clear, specific, and actionable, oriented toward growth, not judgment. The purpose of evaluation is not control. It is development. Great feedback builds awareness. It helps the coach understand how their choices shape learning. From observation to action, when giving feedback, connect three elements. What was observed during the drill? Athletes waited in line for long periods. Why it matters is reduce repetitions and engagement, limiting learning. How to improve? You could split the group and add a second station to increase contacts. Great feedback. Highlight strengths before addressing gaps. Focuses on one or two priorities. Not everything at once. Uses questions to invite reflection. Offers alternatives. Not orders. Treats the coach as a professional in development. Guiding questions. What was your main objective in this drill? What decisions were athletes required to make? What did you want them to perceive? How could we increase game realism here? The goal is not to correct. It is to help the coach learn how to evaluate themselves. That is how evaluation becomes growth. From judgment to development, evaluation should never be a threat. When used correctly, it becomes one of the most powerful tools for professional growth. A healthy evaluation process creates clarity about expectations, identifies strengths that should be preserved, reveals gaps that limit learning, guides purposeful change, encourages reflection and self-assessment. Evaluation is not about ranking coaches. It is about helping them understand the impact of their decisions. A strong evaluation culture treats mistakes as learning opportunities, values curiosity over defensiveness, promotes dialogue instead of authority, builds shared standards of quality, encourages continuous improvement, Great programs do not wait for problems to grow. They observe, reflect, adjust, and evolve. When coaches understand that evaluation exists to support them, they stop fearing it and start using it. That is when evaluation becomes growth. Tools for evaluating a coach. From observation to action, a strong evaluation system is built on multiple perspectives. No single tool is enough on its own. The goal is to combine methods that reveal how a coach thinks, acts, and evolves. Effective tools include structured observation of training sessions, written questionnaires, focus on methodology and decision-making, confidential self-assessment forms, technical and theoretical knowledge tests, personality and leadership style assessments, one-on-one feedback meetings, group workshops, and reflective discussions, short lectures followed by applied task scenario-based problem-solving challenges. What each tool reveals. Each tool serves a different purpose. Observation shows what the coach does. Tests reveal what the coach knows. Questionnaires expose how the coach thinks. Meetings uncover how the coach reflects. Personality tools clarify how the coach leads. A good evaluation system is not about control. It is about creating mirrors, clear, honest, and constructive. The question is never, is this coach good or bad? The real question is, where is this coach now, and what is the next step forward? Small improvements. Every day. By everyone. A true coaching. Great coaches are not defined by what they already know. They are defined by how willing they are to learn. Every training session is a message. Every drill reveals a belief. Every explanation shapes how athletes think. Every choice leaves a trace in someone's future. Evaluation is not a judgment. It is an invitation. An invitation to see more clearly, to question habits, to refine intention, to grow with purpose. The athletes you coach today will become the adults of tomorrow. They will remember how they were taught, how they were treated, how safe they felt to try, fail, and improve. Be the coach who never stops becoming better. Not because someone is watching, but because someone is learning from you. Growth is not a destination. It is a responsibility. You've completed another course in coach and leadership development. Now comes the part that creates real growth, application. Use what you learned. Test it. Adjust it. Manage it with purpose. Because concepts don't improve coaches, consistent execution does. See you in the next module.